Howdy, folks. Widget Walls from needcoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer review. Here's how it works for the uninitiated. I have just left the cinema, where I have seen a film. It's the cinema back over there. And I'm going to tell you about that film on my way home. It's just simpler that way. I've already put the car in reverse. Today we're here to talk about, well, let's see, what was opening? Chimpanzee, which I really didn't need to do a Wayhomer for that, and The Lucky One, which, no. So I just decided to back up and see the film that I sort of wanted to see last weekend as well, Lockout. Okay, so Lockout, synopsis is this. Basically, alright, there is a supermax prison that is in space. Of course it is. And the president's daughter is on a humanitarian mission to go and check out said supermax prison in space to see if the prisoners there, who are the baddest of the bad, are being treated humanely in space. And, of course, so it's the president's daughter. Did you get that? The president's daughter in a supermax prison in space. Now, what could possibly go wrong with this scenario? How about everything? And it just so happens that there is a badass CIA operative played by Guy Pearce. A Guy Pearce who's been working out and eating his Wheaties, might I add. So when the fit hits the shan on the supermax prison in space, then there's only one man who can go in and get the president's daughter out, hopefully intact, and that would be Guy Pearce and his Wheaties, and maybe, because he has gotten into trouble with the law, get himself a pardon as well. Now, so there's your synopsis. Alright, so here's the thing. When I saw the trailer for this, initially, I said, what? Until about halfway through the trailer, because basically, I watched it again the other night, and it's ridiculous, okay? Because you've got, it's literally, oh, that was well done. No, sorry, someone who was in a left turn lane and decided to go straight, which is a way to get hit. Anyway, so, everything, it laid all of its cards on the table. And, well, there's only one man who can do this. Well, he's a bit of a loose cannon. I mean, it was just, literally, just dialogue which we have not heard from, like, you know, we've not heard since, like, 80s action movies that you would find on the shelves of video rental places across the land. Kids, ask your parents. So, but, I will say this. Halfway through the trailer, I knew what the shot was when it said, from the producers of Taken. And if you've been watching these for any amount of time, you know that I have a soft spot in my heart, in the subcoccygeal region of my heart, for Taken. So I said, okay, I'll go on your ride. Very well. And in watching the trailer again, I mean, literally, you get the impression that, well, let me take you on a little historical fact-finding mission here. There used to be a time in which you could have sci-fi action flicks that were basically created for not a lot of money. This one was done, I think, for like 20 million, which these days is not a lot of money. They were done relatively on the cheap, and it was action, it was some sci-fi thrown in, and your whole thing is that you were going to, I don't know, do well with it and sell it to video and overseas and stuff. Now, as we've talked about multiple places, you can sell overseas, you can sell on iTunes, you can sell to Netflix, you can sell 15 different places. So that's what this was basically created to do. The only thing this film really was missing was like the New World Pictures logo to come up at the beginning of it. Those of you who don't know what that means, ask someone who does, because anyone who is a fan of cheesy, cheap sci-fi from the 80s is going, oh yeah? But there are lots of companies like that, not just Roger Corman's New World. But basically, that's what this is. So if you go into it with the understanding, and again, I like to let the trailer tell me what to expect. I say, trailer, what should I expect? And that's what it told me. It said, listen, you're never going to get another Kurt Russell Snake Plissken film. I'm all you've got. And I said, okay, that's fine. Now, that doesn't give it a complete pass. It can't just show up and have somebody to deliver quips with like large arms and gunfire and do all of that in space. Because really, I mean, the third Escape movie was supposed to be Escape from Earth anyway, so this is kind of like just that, but not. But no, you can't just show up and go through the motions and do exceptionally well. Now, there are some things about this film that work really well. Number one is that Guy Pearce is a capable smartass who is believable. Now, I don't know, I'm not certain why all of a sudden actors who are very good actors feel the need to get buff and play badasses. I don't recall that being, I mean, I know, you know, really, actors known for being dramatic, like, what's his face? He was in Predators. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Who suddenly is like, well, I am Special Forces guy. Look at my arms. I mean, it's like, what? And now you got Guy Pearce, who has done a lot of different things. I know him best as the guy from Memento, because I feel like him sometimes, except without all the tattoos. And he is now, you know, badass guy who can wield a weapon. But he does it well. I never at any point went, what? So that part of it works well. You've got, you know, a decent setting. And really, if you think about the storyline, as ludicrous as it sounds, is merely a setup to put this entire scenario in place so that Guy Pearce can beat up some guys in orange jumpsuits. I mean, that's pretty much what it's there for, in space. So you can't really get, you know, harked off at the storyline. There are some bits which get slow. Now, when there's no running, when there's no shooting, when there's no punching, when there's that, and Guy Pearce isn't quipping, the film kind of gets a little, what? So those are the moments in which you actually do start to see the seams and you start to think more about what's going on, because this isn't the sort of film that you want your brain to engage on, right? You want to be mindless and just sit there and enjoy punching and quipping. So there are some points at which the seams show, but that's normal for the sort of film from the 80s that I think this is trying to ape. So I'm not going to get terribly upset at it. But, you know, it does okay. It's not exceptional. It's not Escape from New York level of exceptional action stuff, but it does all right. It's the sort of thing where if you are, you know, wanting to see this sort of film, rent it, grab it off of Netflix or whatever, and I think you will be pleased. Especially if you have, you know what, this is the sort of film where you have a few friends over, not an entire room full of friends, and there's alcohol, and you'll probably have a blast. So that's really what it comes down to. That's what I would recommend as far as seeing it. Should you see it in the theater? No, I think actually the big screen treatment wasn't too kind to it, because there was a chase section which literally looked like something out of a video game. And again, it's done on the cheap, so I can't get too upset about it, but it doesn't make it excel, if that makes any sense. So recommendation-wise, you know, catch it eventually, but I wouldn't go to and watch it on the big screen necessarily. As far as cups go, I think it's right down the middle. I think it's a 2.5 out of 5, which, you know, on Rotten Tomatoes grading system is going to make it show up as rotten, but I wouldn't necessarily call it rotten. I would just, it's just sort of there. It's sort of sitting on, it's in the produce section, and it's just sort of sitting there, and eventually somebody will pick it up, but probably not anyone's first choice, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So, glad I saw it. It was a fun time, a nice escapist thing. Again, reminded me of any number of sci-fi action things that were, you know, most people would have forgotten, but I still have a soft spot for in my heart that, you know, and that I watched in the 80s. It really feels like it was trying to harken back to that, and it mostly succeeded. So, there you go. And Guy Pearce, well done. Whoever your trainer was, well done. So anyway, so yes, that is what I have to say about Lockout. Thanks to everybody, of course, for watching these. Thanks for tuning in for Wayhomers. And as always, if you like what we do here, Need Coffee is, for the most part, listener and watcher supported. So please come to needcoffee.com/support to find out how you can help us not die, because that's important, and not fall out of space. It could be worse. We could be in space. Everything is more dangerous in space. So there you go. All right, until next time, we will see you. Bye. Adrian Brody. That's who it was. That's right, the pianist in space.